Got one-on-one with Van Jefferson. Touchdown! Akers out of the backfield. Touchdown for the Rams. Wide open cut. Touchdown Rams.
Oh, this is Aaron Donald time now.
Gronkowski's down. Stafford. Touchdown. Rams win this one, and this was an impressive showing on both sides of the ball by Los Angeles.
Welcome back to Sportswrap, everybody. It has been a wild day in which we saw the #1 seed from both the AFC and NFC knocked out of the playoffs. So now we look ahead to tomorrow. We're a little more than 15 hours away from the big matchup between the Rams and the Buccaneers. Sean McVay and the squad have played Tom Brady twice since he came to the NFC to quarterback the Buccaneers. Week 11 of 2020, a 3-point win on Monday night in Tampa. And in week 3 of this season, convincing 10-point home win at SoFi Stadium. Now, there are some significant injuries heading into tomorrow's football game. Andrew Whitworth is out with injuries to his knee and to his ankle. The veteran left tackle missed practice all week long after being injured on the very first play of the game last week in that big win over the Cardinals. And Taylor Rapp is out for the second week in a row, still in concussion protocols. As for the Buccaneers, running back Ronald Jones and wide receiver Brashad Perriman will not suit up for tomorrow's game. So Joe Noteboom will step in for Whitworth to protect Matthew Stafford's blind side. The fourth-year tackle started 2 games this season. So we're going to start with our Hall of Fame tackle. Jackie, how do you feel about what you've seen so far out of Noteboom, and how will he be in Whitworth's absence?
Well, it make me nervous a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you. Noteboom was brought in here, in my opinion. He's brought in here to replace Andrew Whitworth. Andrew Whitworth has just been playing at such a high level that they couldn't take him out of the lineup. Noteboom was a left tackle in college. Now, Noteboom has 17 starts, but over half of those have come at left guard. So when I think about this matchup, I think about him blocking Jason Pierre-Paul. I think about him having to block Shaq Barrett, who is the second leading sacker in the National Football League this year. I know he's going to have his hands full. But, I'm not the only person that knows that. His head coach knows that, and Carberry, his offensive line coach, knows that. So one of the things I think we need to look for that's going to be really cool to see is how these coaches go about protecting this guy. You can't protect him all the time, but how you go about protecting this guy and putting him in position so he can be successful, and these really good skilled and veteran pass rushers don't take advantage of him. That's going to be the thing that I'm going to be watching. It could be a critical thing, because it seems to me that if this quarterback get hit in the lips too many times, he goes to a mess, Vince.
That's right.
And we don't need that.
And Vince, let me ask you this. If you are Matthew Stafford, let's get into his head a little bit. When you don't have that security blanket that you're so used to having over there, can that get into your head? And what do you do as a quarterback to try to protect yourself in these circumstances?
The blind side is always a critical element for the quarterback. And I think what you do, a young offensive tackle blocking for the quarterback's blind side, is you have to protect him and help him with support. So I would use a lot of maybe left formation, take my tight end over to the left side, also put a back on that side, chip that defensive end coming in, give him a little help, possibly create certain plays, maybe snug formations and maybe run away from him and do those kind of things early on just to support him, give him some confidence as the game wears on, because as Jackie said, the coaches know this. The defensive coaches know it. Shaq knows it. Barrett knows it.
Yeah.
So does
Vince, you said something there that I just got to disagree with. You said run the ball away from him.
Yeah.
If you do anything, if I'm Noteboom right now, I want that ball coming right behind me, because these guys are pass rushers. I want to beat the pass rush out of them. I don't want them sitting there waiting on an opportunity to get out the quarterback. I want that ball coming right up in there behind me so I can sit down and put my 330 pounds on him.
Well,
Okay,
let's hope he can blow him off the ball.
He'll have a better chance of doing that than
pass protection.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, interestingly enough, talk about guys that get to the quarterback, 2 of the very best over the last couple of years will be playing in this football game tomorrow. Here you look at the best pass rushers since 2019. Pittsburgh's T.J. Watt leading the way with 53 sacks since 2019. And then you got the Bucs, Shaq Barrett, and then you got guess who? AD, Aaron Donald,
right.
41. So that's
Yeah,
a pretty
but
pretty good
look at
company.
those numbers. This guy got more sacks than Aaron Donald. Now, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
We don't want Note Boone dealing with this guy unless he's hitting him in the lips.
All right, week 3 of the season. Let's go back there. The Rams beat the Bucs by 10 at home, and the game really wasn't that close. Matthew Stafford started off a little bit slow, showing some nerves, but eventually turned it on. He threw for 343 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he was unfazed by the Buccaneer blitz. Tampa blitzes the second most in the league, but did not so much against the Rams. They blitzed a season low 25% of the time in that game. And when they did come after Stafford, he completed 78% of his passes for 81 yards and a touchdown. Now, according to Next Gen Stats, Stafford has been one of the best against the blitz this entire season. His passing yards per attempt, touchdowns, and interceptions all second in the league, and his passer rating is number 1 against the blitz this season. Jason Pierre-Paul did not
understandable.
play in week 3 in that game against the Rams. Chasing Matthew Stafford, though, he will be doing a lot of that tomorrow. The Bucs, as I mentioned, blitz the second most times in the league. But you know what? Matthew Stafford has been so good about that. So, Ron Pitts, let's go out to Pitts Island. What do you think? How are the Rams going to take care of that pressure, and how much pressure do you think the Buccaneers are going to put on Stafford? Will they try to blitz him, or will they back off a bit?
Well, obviously, they're going to try to force him into mistakes. They've seen the film. They know what he's been prone to, the pick sixes, the interceptions. And this defense is number 3 in the NFL versus the rush, okay? So they've been able to shut down the rush, which is key because the Rams now have unleashed Cam Akers, okay? And so Cam Akers, along with Sony Michel, they're coming into this game with a little bit of a 1-2 punch that they think can be effective. I think the key is going to be for the Rams to get on the board early. You know, when you go away, especially in these playoff games, they always say pack 2 things, your defense and your special teams, all right? We saw what the special teams did for San Francisco tonight. But I think it's key to get on the board first. You know, I know we're in pandemic times here, and you know about the PPP loan and all that. Well, here's my PPP theory of playoff football. Playoff points are at a premium. Playoff points are at a premium. And that's going to be key for them. Score early if you can, get on the board. And I think that'll shut that down. And also, guys, Jackie, you'll probably speak on this a little bit. The Buccaneers have an offensive line situation of their own with Tristan Wirfs. He's banged up at right tackle. And Jensen, the center, you know, the guy who likes to fight in there. The tough guy. You know, he's banged up as well. So they're going to have to figure that out. And I think the Rams' defensive line could give them a problem just from that standpoint.
It's called tape, Ron. Just tape that ankle
What'd
up.
you say,
Just
tape
get
it
up.
up?
Go for it, man.
Well, you know, that's another reason why what Ron said is score early. That's the reason why they built this defense the way they did. This defense, in my opinion, is built to get after the quarterback.
It stopped the run.
I'm talking about the
Oh,
Rams.
you're talking about the Rams,
If the Rams get the lead and Tom Brady's sitting there chucking the ball all day, they, with the injuries that they have, particularly at right tackle and center, Aaron Donald and them will feast on these guys. Watch what I tell you.
They're 44-1, but leading at halftime, Jackie, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
the Rams are.
You have got to do that.
And they don't need to blitz to do that.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
they
they
got
won't.
individuals that can beat you one-on-one.
Without a doubt. All right, let's go out to Tampa Bay, shall we? Gerard Moncrief's yards per play and the best third down conversions. The Buccaneers also had their second lowest pressure percentage on Matthew Stafford. Again, we mentioned the fact they didn't really blitz him all that often because it's just very ineffective. I mean, both of these quarterbacks, right? You don't blitz Tom Brady, you don't blitz Matthew Stafford because it's just not effective because these guys can dissect that pretty quickly and make you pay.
You know,
it was the Bucs' worst game of the year, too.
Yeah,
Jackie,
it was. You know, one thing, Vince, I was thinking about this. I think Von Miller has 5 sacks in the last 6 weeks. Von Miller is healthy now.
Yeah.
And I saw him put a move on a guy that I don't think I would have been able to block him. He is slick. This guy's a big-time pass rusher in big-time games, and I think he's going to be a major factor in this game along with Aaron Donald.
Any teams that have done well against Tom Brady can apply a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I mean, they've shown it in the past, and that's one of the downfalls of this team. And like John said, if the offensive line is not healthy and ready to go, that could be disastrous for the Tampa Bay team.
And Ron, isn't that a great luxury that the Rams can get that kind of pressure on Tom Brady without having to blitz? I mean, when you've got a guy like Von Miller that now, as Jackie mentioned, now looks healthy. Now looks the part with 6 sacks since he's come over here. Who do you double team here? Where pick your poison, right?
And even if you run out away from the pressure up the middle and on the other side, you're running into Floyd's hands.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy can run.
Great point, Kyle.
I think you're going to see run a lot of 3 tight end formation because they have Brate, they have Gronk, and they also have Howard. This will be something that Tampa Bay will employ tomorrow, and they'll probably have to do a good job if they want to contain the Rams.
I'm curious to see what their offensive game plan will be. Now, we know the GOAT is the GOAT, Tom Brady, and he'll manage it, okay, and he won't make mistakes with the football. He's not going to take off and run a lot, and so I think that favors the Rams. And to your point, Kyle, the 49ers have 4 down linemen that can go. The Rams have 4 down linemen that can go, and that's key. You don't have to manufacture pressure. Yeah. Wide receiver injuries for the Buccaneers are going to play to the Rams' favor. Godwin, gone for the year. Antonio Brown, gone. He got some mental issues there.
He's gone for the year.
Yeah, he's gone for the year. And some young wide receivers, guys like Tyler Johnson, you're going to see them out there. And I guess Leonard Fournette will play. Ronald Jones will not play. So all of this, I think if the Rams can get off to a fast start and the quarterback, again, can manage the turnover game, I like the Rams in this one.
Yeah, you mentioned all of those injuries and losses that the Buccaneers have sustained throughout these weeks, and you wonder, where do they go to? And yeah, I mean, certainly Gronk is going to be a main target, right? And that's something that certainly Sean McVay and the Rams will pay a lot of attention to. But, the Rams are, they're looking pretty good defensively in this game because the Buccaneers have simply lost a lot of options.
It's going to go down to what team controls the other on defense. I mean, if whatever defense steps up, actually will have a great chance of their team winning that game tomorrow.
Don't you feel like the mistakes, like the team that really makes the fewer mistakes, and if we can see, Matthew Stafford, if he can limit, those mistakes that we saw out of him, we generally know Tom Brady's not going to make a lot of those mistakes, Jackie.
Another thing I'm thinking about that I have seen Tom Brady do for years and years, he has always had an outlet pass. He has always had coordination with either Gronkowski or his running back, where that ball comes out of his hand. He looks down the field to make plays, and if they aren't there, he's got the check down there. And Leonard Fournette, think about him. That gave him away in Jacksonville. He comes over there. Tom starts taking him out after practice, and the next thing you know, this year, at one point in time, he was the second leading receiver for running backs in the National Football League when he couldn't catch a cold before that. So he has done a fantastic job of putting himself in a position as a quarterback to be successful. Takes very few sacks, and when he sees that pressure, boom, boom, he goes to his outlet guys. Even though he's looking to kill you down the field.
Decision-making.
Well, the Rams proved to be a nightmare matchup for the Buccaneers way back in Week 3, and it looks as though the Bucs have fewer options now than they did then.
Than they did then.
Right?
That's right. And the Rams, I think the Rams are the hungrier team. Just watching them play last week, there was an aggression, especially defensively. They're not just making tackles. It's like they're trying to punish the runner. That's how playoff teams start to play, and it goes like this, and it gets to the top right when they're about to get to that big game, the championship game. So I like that. And remember, Sean McVay isn't the same coach he was a couple years ago. He's got Super Bowl experience now. So this is a little bit different Ram team, a smarter Ram team, a hungrier Ram team, and they may be catching the Buccaneers at the right time.
Absolutely.
I'll say this to close out this segment, and it's that I hope the Rams were watching football today. And I hope that they saw Tennessee beat themselves, and I hope they saw Green Bay beat themselves. And they learned something from that and don't beat themselves tomorrow against the Buccaneers. All right, so the Rams and Bucs kick things off.